With your host, Tom Whittle, your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts.
It's Sunday night, and you know what that means. A very good evening, everybody, to what is episode 22 of the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel, and of course on Spotify as well. If you are listening on there, a big hello to you. My name is Tom Whittle, and joining me after the announcement last week is the brand new co-host, which is Steve Waldridge. Steve, good evening to you.
Oh, good evening, Tom. I hope you're well this week, and another show I'm looking forward to. It should be educational and a good discussion this tonight.
Should be very very interesting. We've been speaking about this sort of thing pretty much most of the week, and yeah, it's been quite interesting diving into sort of the history and that, which we're going to be bringing you very, very shortly. Also joining us this evening, as always, is the resident comment reader / occasional contributor. It's Ian Hartley. Ian, good evening to you. Are you well?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, Tom. You?
Yes, very well myself. I've just watched Chelsea annihilate Arsenal, so all is well.
Yeah, all is well. Are you all right as well, Steve?
Yeah, evening. All good this end. Thank you ever so much. Yeah.
No problem at all. Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to tonight as well, by the way.
Yes, it's going to be very educational, I think. Very educational indeed. So let's get into some housekeeping before we get off and underway with the alliances. First of all, as I mentioned, we are of course on Spotify, so you can find us on the app or with a link in the description below to take us anywhere that you happen to go, whether you listen to podcasts in the shower or you take them out on the road with you. You can now listen to us and our other 21 episodes that we have done before. Also, you can follow us on our social medias, which you have in the description below. You have our Instagram and, of course, our Twitter as well to keep up to date with everything that is happening through the podcast, through the social medias. Another nod in the direction of the channel's partner, airspotters.com as well. Go check them out for all your aviation models and the toys as well, and t-shirts and mugs and stuff. So definitely worth checking them out as well. And of course, to finish off, if you wish to become a guest on the podcast at any time, you can contact us through our social medias, which, like I said, you can find in the description below. All you got to do is drop us a message, and we will confirm a date with you. Other than that, that is pretty much it. So, we're going to dive into the beginning of tonight's episode topic, which, of course, is the big three airline alliances. Now, we've all heard of the big three alliances in terms of SkyTeam, Star Alliance, and OneWorld. And we're going to be bringing you pretty much every bit of information that we can about them. We've all sort of selected one, and we've gone away, done some research, and we're going to bring them to you. So, first up, Ian, tell us about your pick and everything about your alliance.
Right, well, I've got the SkyTeam Alliance. I particularly like the SkyTeam Alliance. I like the livery on the planes, and I think I just think they're so attractive, the planes. So it's been it's been a pleasure actually doing some research on SkyTeam. So SkyTeam it's dedicated to provide the most seamless customer journeys of any global alliance. Its 19 members all work together to connect millions of passengers to an extensive global network. And its 19 members, they also give access to over 1,000 destinations in over 170 countries. I'm presuming that this information is based on pre-COVID sort of thing. Over 15,000 daily departures from these 170 countries, carrying over 676 million passengers each year, which is an absolute phenomenal amount. And they have over 790 I won't say dedicated SkyTeam lounges, but SkyTeam lounges, I would say. in this, over 1,000 destinations. So they've got plenty of creature comforts and things like that when you use SkyTeam. So you've got two types of customer with SkyTeam. You've got the elite customer and you've got the elite plus customer. So the more you fly with them, the more points you get, and you sort of become an elite plus customer. So if you're an elite passenger, you will get a priority reservation when first permit. So obviously you get pushed at top of any list. Preferred seating, so you always get to pick your own seats and what have you. You'll get priority check-in counters, priority boarding, or just board at your leisure, and you also get extra luggage allowance. So the benefits are there for you. But if you're more of a regular passenger with them, so I would imagine if you're more of a business type passenger, then you get to the Elite Plus status, where you'll get a guaranteed full fare Y-class reservation on sold out long haul flights. But that's the Y-class reservation is only an economy reservation, but you will get a guaranteed seat up to 24 hours before your departure. So that's really, really good. So you can even get a seat on a booked out flight. You'll get access to all the airport lounges worldwide, whatever the class of travel you're in. So for members, if you've got a boarding pass or and you're accompanied with guests and things like that, you'll get access to all these airport lounges worldwide, and you get priority baggage handling on arrival. You get extra baggage allowance. You also get priority check-ins and priority boardings, and just the general things. You get treated a bit like a superstar, to be quite honest. I'd imagine the ticket price is a little bit higher booking them through SkyTeam than what you would do through a normal carrier. But if you do need to get from A to B, and it's important, and you particularly business people and pop stars and God knows what else, it's a fantastic service, and I'm sure that the other two alliances offer a similar kind of thing. So they do serve a purpose, and I think that the benefits of actually using them are absolutely fantastic. So anyway, SkyTeam, they were formed 21 years ago. I do apologise. Let me start that again. SkyTeam are 21 years old this year. So on June the 27th this year, they were 21. It was founded in the year 2000 in New York by Aeromexico, Air France, Delta, and Korean Air. And there are now 19 full members of the SkyTeam Alliance. And somewhere I've got, there it is. A sort of a brief history of SkyTeam. So in June 2000, they were formed with 4 members. So we had Aeromexico, Air France, Delta, and Korean Air. Later that same year, they created the world's first airline cargo allowance as well, which we'll get into a little bit later on. So you've got SkyTeam Cargo as well. In 2001, they were joined by Czech Airlines and Alitalia. And that was pretty much it in 2001. Up to 2004, KLM joined them as their 7th member. So at this point, they had 7 members, growing stronger all the time. In 2006, Aeroflot joined SkyTeam, and I think Aeroflot now are their biggest contributor in regards to, I think, just aircraft and what have you. In 2007, they went up to 10 members by adding Kenyan Airways and Air Europa. And that was it for 2007. So that they joined SkyTeam. In 2009, the first SkyTeam lounge was opened at London's Heathrow, and the first co-located facilities, they also opened at Terminal 4 in Heathrow Airport. In 2010, they went up to 12 members by adding Tarom and Vietnam Airlines. But these, in fact, just leave that for the time being. So, yeah, that was in 2010, taking them up to 12 members. Yeah, that's right. In 2011, China Eastern joined them. China Airlines joined them. and they had a co-located facility which opened as well at the Terminal 2 building at Beijing Capital Airport. So I think they wanted to have a big presence as well. So they've got the big presence in Holland, where the main office is in Schiphol. They've also got a good, they've got a big office in London, and they've also now opened one in 2011 in China, as opposed to serve that part of the world. In 2012, they went up to 18 members. Royal Saudi joined them. Middle East Airlines. I can't even say. I've been practicing this all day. Argentinian Airlines, so it's Aerolíneas Argentinos. They joined them in 2012. And is it Xiamen Airlines, which is another? I think it's another Chinese airline. They joined them as well. And that was about it for 2012. They've reached in 2012 as well the 1,000 destinations milestone.
Very good on the pronunciations, by the way.
I beg your pardon?
Very good on the pronunciations.
All right, thank you.
I was just say the Aeroflot inclusion was quite interesting reading up on it, because they didn't actually meet SkyTeam's consortium standards. But it was only that the airline had a large hub network that the alliance agreed to make up for the deficiencies and allow them in.
Yeah, and I think when I think there was them and I think Hungarian, I think because they wanted to join as well and they couldn't join, but I think it was Czech Airlines who sponsored Hungarian for them to sort of become an affiliate member, but they didn't have any voting rights or anything like that, and I think that was. You can sort of become you can sort of be part of this, the alliance in the background sort of thing, but you haven't got any, there's no hers and graces with it like there is with the bigger carriers. I don't think they got liveried planes and things like that. So, yeah, I think that's what it were. But Aeroflot now, they're a good airline, aren't they? They have some nice aircraft, don't they? And the safety standards and things like that seem to be up there with best of them, don't they? So you can't really knock Aeroflot, really. I've lost where I was up to now. Yeah, so so up to 2012. So they had 18 members by then, and they've reached 1,000 destinations as well. So the first, at this point as well, the Sky Priority. Which is the red banner, what you'd probably see over the SkyTeam gates in various airports. They opened, so you've got your express check-ins and things like that, and your priority luggage and your priority other bits and pieces, immigration checks and your boarding and what have you. So that was in 2012. So in 2013, the first fast-track security opened at Tokyo's Narita. And the second SkyTeam lounge opened in Istanbul at Zurich Airport. And I think these are just dedicated SkyTeam lounges rather than using a first-class lounge in a terminal building. I think these were just SkyTeam's own dedicated lounges. And I think they've got, I couldn't tell you how many they've actually got now, but they haven't really got that many of dedicated proper SkyTeam lounges, but like I say, they've got over 790 access to over 790 lounges worldwide. Anyway, so in 2014, Garuda Indonesia joined SkyTeam. So by 2014, they've sort of concentrated more on the Eastern market, and they've got you've got your Vietnam Airlines, and you've got your China Airlines. So they've got some really big players in the eastern side of the market, which, to be fair, it's a massive market, and obviously they're there because the market's there. In 2015, they opened a SkyTeam lounge in Hong Kong, and they have also opened in 2016 lounges in Beijing and Dubai, and they're still expanding to this day. But obviously, with what's been happening, everything's just slowed down and pretty much ground to a halt in regards to, I think, expansion programs and things like that for any airlines, or pretty much any airline, to be honest. So
yeah, it's interesting that they've got such a large presence in the Eastern world, but they've never made it into Australasia, like New Zealand, Australia, anywhere like that. They seem to have got to China, Russia, and sort of stopped and not covered that.
Yeah, I think their only real access really into like the Australian markets. I suppose I think Vietnam and Japan, I suppose China. It's sort of as close as they can get to Australia without actually. Well, they've got Indonesia, which is pretty close to Australia, isn't it? So I think they've got access to the Australian market without actually becoming part of the Australian market. Now, whether you think about Australia as a continent, and it's very, on grand scheme of things, it's quite sparsely populated, isn't it? In relation to, say, what China is or Japan or something like that. So I don't think you've got the tight, condensed, metropolises like a lot of other places have got, have they? And as far as airlines are concerned, I think Qantas have pretty much got Australia boxed off, and I think Virgin Australia, haven't they? They've got Australia boxed off, haven't they? So maybe they just didn't want to expand that far. Perhaps, I'm not sure.
The reasons were, the network they've got is pretty impressive. They've got some real decent carriers, and it's obviously reflected in the numbers that they're showing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They have got some really, really good carriers, and obviously with such a volatile market as well. I think more people will come and more people will go. You look at Alitalia as a for instance, which are a massive player as far as I suppose that sort of Mediterranean part of Europe is concerned. And I think once Alitalia go later on this year, now maybe they will pass the SkyTeam baton over to the carrier, because I've forgotten the name of the carrier who's going to be taking over Alitalia. But once Alitalia go, maybe they'll pass the baton over to the person, the actual airline who's going to be taking those routes. I'm not sure if there's another Italian, government sort of funded airline. I don't know.
Prominent in Europe, Air France, KLM was it? Sorry, as well. So they've still got
KLM, Air France. Yeah, they're part of the same group anyway. Air France and KLM, aren't they? So
got a massive European presence with Alitalia going.
Yeah, they will. That'll be a massive, massive shame. I think as far as sort of Eastern Europe is concerned, where you've got Czech Airlines, and obviously they've got Aeroflot as well. I think, and they've got Air Europe as well. So I think there's going to be room for more carriers to join the alliance groups, but I think they have to meet certain criteria, don't they? And if these smaller airlines, I don't want to call I don't know, Kazakhstan or whatever you want to call them, these smaller Eastern European countries and what have you, they have the flag carriers, but I just don't think they meet the requirements what people like SkyTeam and Star Alliance and OneWorld need, because they want prestige, don't they? And they want to be the creme de la creme, don't they? And the best of everything, and I think that's what they're striving for. And I think they sort of pick their carriers carefully so they can achieve, number one, the global web which they create, and also the actual prestige of having these airlines on their books as well. So, yeah.
You had on the research, how many sort of major players have come there? How many major players have come and gone from the alliance?
I've lost me notes again. No,
there's a couple. There's a couple of airlines that have gone.
They seem to be mainly affiliated to people here rather than sort of outright.
Yeah, there were some former members, include China Southern, who exited in 31st December 2018. Although I think China Southern is still, I'm not 100% certain on this, but I think China Southern are actually still sort of affiliating themselves with them, like you say with the affiliations. I think they're still having a small part to play, even though they're not a full SkyTeam member. There's been quite a few. There's Alitalia Express, and they're former affiliate members up to 2015, for instance. Brit Air, which were French, they went in 2013. So a lot of them started Aero Litoral, which were Mexican. So they were part of Aero Mexico, Aero Mexico Travel. They were part of Aero Mexico, obviously. But I think a lot of these smaller affiliate airlines, they sort of get swallowed up into the bigger, airlines, and then they sort of fizzle away and disappear, don't they? Song Airlines, they was with the alliance from 2003 to 2006, but I think Delta Airlines took them, didn't they? And I think they swallowed Song Air up, didn't they? Song Airlines.
Well,
I think Tom and all that.
Are kind of like a low cost subsidiary of Delta, which didn't last very long, which is why. So most of the affiliates that you've mentioned are all part of the fact that airlines like Aeromexico, Alitalia, Air France, Delta, etc. Were all part of the members. So because they were members of the alliance, that would sort of I don't think you'd ever see like one of their planes painted like the Alitalia Cityliner or Express or Comair or Song Airlines and stuff, because it's a subsidiary sort of thing. It's just the fact that their parent company was part of it, so the affiliate is almost like one of those ones where it's just swept under the carpet sort of thing. So they're not fully fledged members. It's just the fact that their parent airline is part of it, so they're technically part of it.
Part of it, yeah. But obviously they were affiliated, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Kenya Airways, they joined in 2007, and if I look here, they went on 16th of June 2012. So there have been a few. They've come and they've gone, but the main airlines over the last 10 to 15 years who started it, and they've all stuck with it, and they've really made it work. I was just going to go back to my notes, and we're going to move on to the liveries. I'm getting Can you still hear me all right?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, you're fine.
It's fine. It's somebody phoning me up. I need to put that down there.
Part of live broadcast.
Sorry.
You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, no. Yeah, so anyway. So the livery was launched in 2009 to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. Delta were the first to get the livery, and now there's 52 planes painted. I think they start from as small as an ATR, don't they? I've seen an ATR 72, is it? Yeah. Somewhere, which has been painted up. Czech Airlines, I beg your pardon, ATR 42-500, and obviously right up to 330s and what have you. So, there's a good range. And something else, because a lot of 320s, a lot of smaller planes have been painted in the SkyTeam colours. There's a good range of aircraft painted, and they are all. I think they're all really nicely painted. I do like the silver fuselages and the dark blue tails with the delivery plastered all over it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I saw my first SkyTeam at Heathrow last week. It was an Air France, and it did look really good. Like, with the colour scheme and that.
Yeah, they do look really nice, don't they? And they just look. There is. I don't know whether it was the same one. There is an Air France A320, and it's only 4 or 5 years old. And it's. I saw it when it were brand new, and it just looks absolutely mint. And looking at it close up as it taxied past at Manchester, it just looks so clean, and the delivery just really suited it. And I just, I thought they are really nice. So that's pretty much. Unless you guys have got any questions, I was going to mention quickly about the SkyTeam Cargo Alliance. They were the first alliance to create a cargo alliance, and as of 2019, there were 12 members in the SkyTeam Cargo Alliance. So I think Aeroflot, Aeromexico, Air France, Alitalia, China Airlines, Czech Airlines, Delta KLM, Korean, Saudi, China Cargo, and Airlines Argentinius
Good
are
man.
the 12 members of the of SkyTeam's cargo alliance. So they've pretty much, they've got all the bases covered, haven't they? So they've got the cargo, and I'm sure that the cargo's wrapped in velvet or whatever, and it's looked after really, really well with SkyTeam cargo. But yeah, I really rate them as an alliance, and after reading about them and reading what they're about, and doing some research on the websites and things like that, I'm really, really impressed with them. They are really, and I mean, I'd love to be able to fly with them if I could afford it.
Yeah, there's a comment from Rob Brown Plane Spotting, and it's for you, Ian.
All right.
Is the SkyTeam cargo the same members as the main SkyTeam?
Yes, they are. Yeah. It's the cargo wing of the airline. So, for instance, you've got Aeroflot cargo, Aero Mexico cargo, Air France cargo, Alitalia cargo, China Airlines cargo, Czech Airlines cargo, Delta, KLM, Korean, Saudi, China Cargo Airlines, which I don't think are actually in the alliance. I think they're just maybe a standout cargo carrier on their own. And Aerolines Argentinius, which I won't be saying again tonight.
You're on a hat trick now.
Yeah, so the cargo side of the business is actually part of the alliance member, so it is part of the airline.
Yeah,
is the answer to his question.
I'll just quickly jump in and bring out my inner geek and just say that China Cargo is the cargo subsidiary of China Eastern.
Okay, thanks for that. Yep. So there we go. So that's so that's part of the alliance as well. Then.
Wonderful.
I was going to say,
I will just
recently
go on.
Only the Sky Cargo that's been sort of given them any sort of revenue with the lack of passenger numbers in the last couple of years.
I mean, I would imagine so, but I mean, if you look at the prestige what SkyTeam carry with the way they treat the passengers with their express check-ins and things like that, what difference is the cargo to DHL transporting the cargo? I just don't understand. I mean, there's nothing different about the cargo hold of the aeroplane, is there? There's nothing different about maybe it's delivered quicker. Maybe if I rung up DHL and said I've got a pallet of what needs to go to USA from England, when can you get it there for? And they might say, well, it's going to cost you £1,000. It's going to take 2 weeks because we're busy. And then if I rung up SkyTeam and said I've got a pallet of what needs to go to America, how quickly can you get it there? They might say, well, I can get you there by Wednesday, but it's going to cost you $2,000 or whatever. So I just think they would offer that better, more of a priority service, I think, than a normal carrier. I think you would get things done a lot more efficiently, a lot more quicker using an alliance, just because of the prestige. Because you just imagine that they would want to provide that kind of service to you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's right. Yeah,
definitely. I will just go through a couple of things before we move on to Steve's choice. And of course, if anybody's got any questions about SkyTeam for Ian to answer, put them into the chat and we'll get them answered literally throughout the remainder of the show that we're here. But Aviation 19 says hello, and obviously Rob Brown Plane Spotted says evening troops. Hope all is well as asking the question that Ian's just answered. Secondly, we've put a poll into the chat for you guys to vote for your favourite alliance. Kind of a couple of votes so far, and OneWorld is winning it because it's the only one that's been voted for. So, get your votes in. Get your votes in, and we'll end the poll before just before the end of the show and reveal who the winner is. But yes, so Ian with his knowledge there on SkyTeam,
I think,
and we're going to move away from SkyTeam. So SkyTeam, the youngest of the three, we're now going to go to the middle child of both three. And Steve, tell us all about your pick.
Yeah, so I've been doing a little bit of research on the OneWorld, which, as you will see at the top of your screen, was formed in. It was announced in September '98, but it was officially launched on the 1st of February 1999, with its founding members being American, BA, Canada Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and Qantas. Although Canada Airlines only lasted a year in the alliance as they got taken over by Air Canada, so their membership was transferred to the alliance that they were part of after the year. But as of March 2020, the airline had a fleet of 3,296 aircraft, which I imagine has probably grown in that time, serving 1,000 airports in 170 countries, carrying 490 million passengers yearly, with approximately 13,000 daily departures at the moment. When they launched in London on the 1st of February, they outlined their services and benefits, which included smoother transfer for passengers travelling across all member airlines, a greater range of round-the-world products, and enhanced cooperation between member airlines. When they launched, they had a staff of 220,000 people across the 5 member airlines who were trained to have sort of one goal for the affiliation rather than their previous individual goals. And then the first airline that joined after the founder members was Finnair, which was obviously Finland's flag carrier, and soon after they welcomed Iberia and a kind of subsidiary of Iberia called the Iberia Regional Air Nostrum, which added another 50 destinations to the One World network. Followed then by LAN Chile, who became a member-elect shortly afterwards, but they left because, well, I think they hit the wall, essentially, so they weren't a member for too long. And Aer Lingus also joined at the same time, but they left again really soon because they wanted to keep their own price points and their own sort of, not budget ethos, but they certainly weren't buying into the alliance ethos. In 2003, Swiss International Airlines accepted an invitation to join OneWorld, but they couldn't agree a commercial agreement with British Airways, so they decided not to proceed with their OneWorld membership. And then sort of jumping forward to 2005, they had their first expansion drive, which saw Hungarian carrier Molev sign in 2005, followed by the first Middle Eastern carrier, Royal Jordanian, to accept the invitation. And they were closely followed by Japan Airlines in 2005. Sorry, bear with me. So by 2007, the expanded One World network had almost 700 airports to 150 countries, served by 9,000 daily departures, carrying 315 million passengers a year, with a fleet of 2,500 aircraft with access to 400 airport lounges worldwide. And then in February 2012, Malev suspended all services indefinitely, citing financial difficulties. So their OneWorld membership ended when the company got wound up, unfortunately. So then in 2009, S7 Airlines were elected to the alliance to sort of cover the Russian network, which added another 54 cities, 35 of them in Russia, as well as their subsidiary Globus Airlines as an affiliate member. In 2009, OneWorld also got Mexicana and its subsidiaries Mexicana Click and Mexicana Link, which added another 26 destinations to the OneWorld map. Mexicana was formerly with Star Alliance, although it left in 2004 before joining the OneWorld Alliance. And then going on a little bit further, 23rd of February 2010, Kingfisher Airlines joined the OneWorld, but they only lasted 2 years due to them hitting financial trouble. Air Berlin also joined in 2010, but they only lasted a small time as well. And Malaysian Airlines also joined in 2011 to be part of the OneWorld officially from 2013. Sri Lanka Airlines in 2012 became OneWorld's latest member. And then going on, 2012, Qatar joined the OneWorld membership. Air Berlin, they left in 2017 as they filed for insolvency, as Etihad had stopped funding the airline at that time. And then, the latest one to join after that was Alaska Airlines, who were really recent, March 31st, 2021. But the airlines that were members, that are no longer members, were Aer Lingus, who lasted 7 years, Air Berlin, who were there just for a couple of years, Canada Airlines, who didn't last any time at all because of their buyout, LATAM Airlines lasted 20 years, but they left to join the SkyTeam after an alliance with Delta Airlines. And then finally, Malev left at the same time as them.
I pick up on something, Steve. Fiji Airlines, Fiji Airways.
Yes.
Did you mention them at all?
I don't think I did.
No, I'm looking at. I've got the OneWorld website up in front of me, and they joined in 2018. They're not mentioned anywhere. That's the thing. You know, I was looking at the members and things like that, and it was only when I went on the actual website that I noticed that Fiji Airways were part of it as well.
Yeah, and I didn't realise Logan Air were part of it, and they left in 2008 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so there seems to be a pattern emerging where these alliances, they seem to just want the big players, don't they? Which are, I would imagine, the most financial stable airlines to keep these alliances up and running. Otherwise, if they're sort of running at, if you lose one of your big players, you sort of lose a massive portion of the market, don't you? Say, for instance, if BA went under or something like that, you'd sort of wipe out half of Europe, wouldn't you, as far as your alliance is concerned?
Yeah, well, I'm really surprised that this alliance is actually the smallest on passenger numbers. When you think it's got American Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Japan Airlines, Qantas, and Qatar, there's some real big hitters in there, but their passenger numbers are well behind both of your.
Yeah, but you only have to look at the markets, what they're dabbling in. When you see that, for instance, SkyTeam have got 3 Chinese carriers, straight away you're into massive numbers, aren't you? You're into massive passenger numbers, aren't you? Just by having them 3 carriers, aren't you?
Well, yeah, true enough.
Yeah.
But I suppose when you live in Britain, live in England, OneWorld is what you see the majority of the time, being British Airways.
British Airways, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you don't sort of think of the bigger picture quite as much.
No. So what about the benefits of sort of being part of, using OneWorld rather than using another alliance? What would you say the benefits would be?
Well, certainly Heathrow, you've got very good lounges. You've got worldwide connections, sort of like Australia, America. You can go there because they do sort of market themselves for a lot of long distance business travellers.
Yeah, looking at the carriers, what they've actually got, there's a lot of long haul flights amongst that lot, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some. They're definitely targeting. I mean, I think all alliances are saying they're all targeting sort of the more the people who are using these services a lot more frequently than you or I, for instance, and obviously have got a pocket full of money where we haven't. So they're certainly targeting those kinds of people, aren't they?
But yeah, the 14 members of today are Alaska Airlines, American, BA, Cathay Pacific, Finnair, Iberia, Japan Airlines, Malaysia, Qantas, Qatar, Royal Maroc, Royal Jordanian, S7, and Sri Lanka. Plus, there's a few sort of subsidiaries. Like Fiji Airways is a OneWorld Connect partner rather than an outright partner. Perhaps that's
right. That's probably why then. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference then, isn't it? Because Fiji Airways, I think they're just what are they? Are they sort of Australian, sort of around that area? Sort of Australasia.
Just asked that question as to where Fiji is.
Geography's not my strong point.
Yeah. What country does Fiji Airways come from, Ian?
No, you know what I mean. I'm on about which portion of the world it's actually serving. So obviously, if it's a Connect partner, it's going to be, connecting. If there's a gap somewhere, for instance, between Australia and China, if they stick somebody like Fiji in the middle of it or something, then that could connect them to, couldn't it? So it's like you say, an affiliate or subsidiary. What's connecting these two sort of bigger airlines together, isn't it? Like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's above New Zealand. That's where it is.
Yeah, definitely. What else were we going to say? I was looking at the actual market, and they seem to have gone for. They've got a strong European market, but they've also gone down. For instance, where SkyTeam went down sort of the Eastern market and went sort of for the Chinese sort of market. It's as though OneWorld have sort of gone for the sort of Middle Eastern market with the Moroccan, the Royal Jordanians, and Qatar's, them kinds of airlines. And as for S7, I don't even think that's a massive airline anyway, is it? Well,
no, they just got a really nice livery.
Yeah, of course they have. Yeah, Brexit green. Apart from the one with the picture of the guy painting the tail, that's really cool. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I won't stand on Tom's toes just yet, but the difference pre everything that's gone on, passenger numbers, SkyTeam 676 million in 2019, whereas OneWorld were only carrying 490 million. Well, I say only, but it's almost 200 million less passengers in comparison. But let's say it might be skewed because British Airways, American, you think of them as massive airlines, Qatar as well. So those numbers are baffling, really, that they're so different to SkyTeam.
Yeah, and you've got Japan Airlines as well. Japan Airlines and Malaysia, they're huge markets, aren't they? And Qantas being really the only big player in that part of the world. I mean, they fly all over, don't they?
Well, particularly now with direct flight from Heathrow to Australia, you thought that would sort of boost the numbers a little bit. It wouldn't be significant because of the amount of people you can get on a plane, but
you think. I was just looking at S7 Airlines. Actually, they fly to 196 destinations in 33 countries, which is a lot more than Qantas and Japan Airlines, to be quite honest.
Anyone who watched the livery show last week, I do like the OneWorld. The fact that they've left the tail alone, so it's as it should be. Apart from obviously the OneWorld instead of the carrier's sort of writing or logo, whatever, on the side of it. It is nice that they've left the tails alone compared to Star Alliance and SkyTeam.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't read, and I haven't read into it, but who actually owns the aircraft? Is it do the OneWorlds of this world, do they actually physically lease, buy, or whatever the aircraft rather than BA buying the aircraft? So is it, and then is this specific aircraft sort of put into that fleet? Just I don't know. So it's like
the airlines the airlines will buy.
Do you think it's the airlines will buy it and then just it's just painted in that livery? Right. I just thought they were buying into it.
No, it's just to represent the fact that they are. It's almost advertising it, because if you look at the livery, like I'll mention it to Steve shortly, but the livery that you see now is not just obviously the OneWorld name or anything. It tells you that it's a partner or it's a member of the of the alliance.
Very true.
And so it's purely as a advertising sort of thing to say we are a member of the OneWorld thing. It's not OneWorld that buy the aircraft and go, right, which one should we put it in, sort of thing. The airlines will just continue to buy the aircraft, but then it's then down to the airline themselves to sort of decide which planes to put the OneWorld titles on. So Steve mentioned earlier about the he mentioned earlier about the fact you see British Airways and stuff like that. You don't anymore, not with the fact that the 747s have been retired, because those were the only aircraft that actually wore the titles. There was no other aircraft that wore the titles. So there are rumours that the 787 will get the titles as well. There's one over in America that's yet to be delivered and not in full livery as well. So there's rumours going around that that's going to be the first one as a replacement for the 747s. But yeah, you don't really see the British Airways OneWorld now, seeing as BA got rid of their 747s.
Oh, yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah.
On the 4th of November, OneWorld members BA and Iberia International Airlines are making an offer to buy Air Europa for $1.1 billion and consolidate the airline under Iberia.
Yes. This is another IAG tactic, where they sort of just buy out. So, for example, like within the IAG, I think it's the International Airline Group or something like that they're called.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah.
They obviously own British Airways, Aer Lingus, and Iberia, and it's just consolidate Air Europa and probably ruin the livery on them and integrate it into Iberia. So should it happen, that will mean a fleet change and things like that. Like, for example, where did I read it somewhere that Air Europa, I think it was a SkyTeam one, that Air Europa
SkyTeam,
sort of
yeah,
left,
part
didn't they?
SkyTeam.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they'll leave they'll leave SkyTeam, won't they?
Yeah, left it a couple of years ago, I think, or something, or they've announced that they'll leave it. But there've been many airlines that have sort of come and go really from like OneWorld as well. So the likes of US Airways, when they were sort of their own like identity, they left Star Alliance and joined OneWorld the next day because they were an affiliate of American Airlines. This was before the takeover, of course. But then going in the opposite direction, I think. Tell a lie. So TAM, the Brazilian Airlines TAM, left Star Alliance as well and joined OneWorld the next day. So there's been plenty of toing and froing along the alliances and stuff. So it's it's one of those games where if you make that sort of suitable offer, if it's enticing enough, you'll be able to get the airline that you want and expand the market.
Yeah, it's almost like these alliances can, like I think Ian sort of touched on it, you can almost, as a massive group, bully the independent airlines into sort of becoming into your alliance, or sort of keeping you out of the alliance, depending on what they want to do with them. Sort of such the power of them globally.
Yeah, it's like an exclusive club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Rob Brown, Plane Spotting, he's picked up on it. He said IAG, they're almost an alliance in their own right, which they're sort of heading that way, aren't they?
God help us the day that happens.
Yeah, you're just worried about the liveries, aren't you?
No, I'm not worried about that. They're just, they're so sort of. I don't think it's a case of deliveries and stuff. Like, you can live with the liveries. It's the fact that they're so business orientated and that they're not really thinking of anything else. So it's not like customer sort of service or anything like that. Like all the bad press and stuff, like with British Airways and things like that, and things like that, all stem from IAG. So
yeah,
IAG get their hands on any other airline and stuff, and it's almost a bit like selling your soul to the devil sort of thing.
Yeah, they're sort of coming the. I don't know. I don't really want to compare it to anyone, but like you said, they're just a big corporate group, aren't they? Or just swallowing up these smaller airlines just to expand themselves to the point where there's going to be nobody left.
That's it. So airfares and stuff will be more expensive because the low cost ones will, like Air Europa. I'm sure they offer they offer out like really good sort of prices for their flights and stuff. And then if IAG get their hands on them, then it'll be like, right, well, we'll swallow you into Iberia, and then you charge Iberia prices sort of thing. And I don't know what prices are like for Iberia, but I imagine it'd be a little bit more than what you would normally pay. So that's my biggest concern, really, is the fact that the market of small airlines, small fees will just go straight out the window because people like IAG and that will just almost take away that identity.
Yeah, definitely. But it also it also opens the door a bit wider for your smaller, like your EasyJets and your Ryanairs of this world. So if IAG are taking over all these, and it's either IAG or no way sort of thing, and you pay our prices and you do it this way, and then the smaller carriers like your EasyJets and your Ryanairs are just going to they're just going to be able to expand, aren't they, into these markets, because there's going to be a massive hole left, isn't there?
Yeah.
People want low-cost carriers, don't they? I mean, you only have to look at Ryanair. They've got places all over Europe, haven't they? Where obviously they started in Ireland, but when you look at Malta Air and things like that, and Scoot, I think that's another one, isn't it? Which is part of Ryanair? Scoot, is it? The yellow
that's
one.
the other side of the world. That's Singapore. That is.
Is it? Who am I thinking of then? I'm thinking of somebody else anyway. Yeah, but these smaller carriers, they're able to expand, aren't they? If these other airlines are being swallowed up, but it could be. I mean, they could shoot themselves in foot, to be fair, couldn't they?
Do you think there'll ever be a time where EasyJet's, Ryanair's form their own alliance with one another?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Ryanair Buzz. I think Aviation 19's Buzz.
Yeah. The problem with putting EasyJet, Ryanair into a alliance of their own is it won't happen because they are constantly competing against each other.
Yeah.
It's almost like telling two enemies to be like, somebody you hate, or like, it's almost like saying, go be a friend with an ex who done you wrong, sort of thing. Like, it won't happen.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So I was going to say it's like Kentucky, and I was going to say it was like McDonald's and Kentucky merging.
Yeah,
it wouldn't work, would it?
Burger King sort of thing,
Yeah.
But no, the thing is, I think they're big enough to kind of be able to. They get the business as well. Like they probably look like an attractive proposition for the alliances and stuff. But like I said, it's just you then start to look at like fares going up and things like that when they're sort of cheap enough now that you get the business anyway, because that's what holiday airlines are like your Jet2s, like your EasyJets, like your Ryanairs, and many more sort of things. So I think they are fine as they are, like as a standalone sort of airline, really.
Yeah, Lingus pulled out of being in the alliance, really.
Yeah, and then joined up with IAG, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a strange one. It's definitely a strange one. Rob Brownplane says before, the Qatar BA relationship is odd. Akbar Al Bakar of Qatar has called BA a low-cost carrier, so I'm betting that the OneWorld meetings are a lot of fun. To be a fly on the wall, I guess. When the two sort of meet, if you're calling one airline a low-cost carrier sort of thing, when they're so clearly not. He also says that there's no real presence in the South American or African markets in terms of OneWorld, which again is very true, apart from the likes of, I think LATAM, they still left it, so there is no real representation of that one. Very quickly going through, Aviation 19 says it'd be cool to have the OneWorld on the A350 when we were talking about British Airways. Obviously, the Qatar have got the OneWorld livery on their A350s as well. It looks quite nice, so it'd be nice to see it on the 350s.
Yeah, I could definitely see that working. That's sort of the new flagship aircraft, isn't it? Really, the 350 for sort of Virgin, British Airways. Qatar.
So the 350 is what the 747 would be. It's like the flagship sort of thing. Delta use it as their flagship. British Airways will use it as their flagship. Virgin use it as their flagship. So yeah, it's becoming sort of as important as like what the 747 was sort of 25 years ago, I suppose.
Yeah,
definitely.
But yes, don't forget to vote in the poll to decide what your favourite alliance is. Currently, OneWorld is winning it by 80%. SkyTeam is 20%, and Little Old Star Alliance got nothing. So, keep voting in the poll there. And like I said, we'll read out the winner at the end of the show. Also, at the same time, leave a like on the stream if you are enjoying tonight's episode. As we move into the final alliance, which is the oldest of the three, which I had the pleasure of doing a bit of research on.
Privilege.
I had the privilege to witness the Wikipedia page of Star Alliance. Of course, like I said, it's the oldest one of the lot. And it is, of course, the world's biggest global airline alliance. Founded in May 1997, its current CEO is Jeffrey Goh. And not many people know this, but the headquarters of Star Alliance, I didn't know this when I looked at it, but the headquarters are in Frankfurt, Germany. I didn't think that. I thought they might have been sort of elsewhere, really. But Frankfurt, Germany is where they are based. And yeah, obviously we mentioned the passenger numbers as well. So yes, I think if I remember correctly, Star Alliance celebrated their 25th birthday, I think, this year. I want to say. Just trying to... Is it 24? No, 24 years, sorry. 25 next year. So it's a big one for Star Alliance next year. And I think for me it's one of the more interesting alliances, considering that they originally agreed to form the alliance in 1997 through 5 airlines across 3 continents. So this is where the market is looked at, I think, and they've done a lot of research into it. So the 5 founding members of Star Alliance were United Airlines, Scandinavian Airlines, Thai Airways, Air Canada, and Lufthansa. So already you're looking at 5 huge hitters in the aviation market. And of course, the logo of the Star Alliance is the 5 sort of triangular points, which is to represent the 5 founding airlines. And of course, the slogan is the airline network for Earth, which is what it was to begin with, and now it's the way that Earth connects. So the oldest one of the lot. It's very doing research into this was very interesting, because there are, I think, because it's the biggest one, there are 26 members as of today. But we'll go through sort of a little bit of the history that sort of got Star Alliance to where they are now. So after the 5 announced that they were forming Star Alliance, the defunct Brazilian airline Varig joined the Star Alliance network as well in October of 1997, which is extending the alliance into South America. This then led to the weird and wacky livery that is on the screen, that was adorned by the A340 there, where sort of the fuselage was painted into 6ths. So a 6th of the plane was painted into each of the founding members. It made for an interesting livery, and it was very, very eye-catching to begin with. And I sort of wish that this was still around, but given the fact that you've got 26 members now, I don't think that's going to be possible to get all those 26 members onto one plane. But after the introduction of Varig, they then sort of looked into the the Oceania market, and they were joined by Ansett, which was Ansett Australia, which is obviously the Australian airline that was based in Melbourne, and Air New Zealand as well, so expanding the alliance into Australia and the Pacific. So with the 2 additions of Ansett and Air New Zealand, the alliance then served 720 destinations in 110 countries with a combined fleet of over 1,600 aircraft. 2 years later, the second Asian airline after Thai Airways joined, and that was All Nippon. They joined in October 1999. So already, judging by what we've said in terms of the airlines and stuff, you're already looking at the big hitters to join this sort of thing. I'm surprised that the likes of British Airways weren't involved in sort of the planning of the formation of Star Alliance. I don't know if you guys are.
Well, if it had all been under one umbrella, they would have been absolutely massive. Well, even bigger than they are, wouldn't it? If they'd managed to get BA on board and American on board, they would have sort of just had the monopoly on the entire market. That's looking at who their founding members and subsequent members are. They'd be absolutely untouchable, wouldn't they, if they managed to get those others on board?
Yeah, you imagine the likes of, like I say, United Airlines, huge airline at the time. Scandinavian were big as well. You're looking at like biggest airline in America, biggest airline in the sort of the Scandinavian countries, Thailand, Canada, and Germany, and the amount of destinations that they all fly to as well. It's like a rapid expansion sort of thing, just because of all the destinations and countries and that they go to. So you can easily see now, once I go through sort of all the members that are in there now, as to why it's the biggest alliance in the world. But we'll go into sort of the early 2000s and that. So a number of airlines joined between 2000 and 2006. So the first one was the Austrian group, which was Australian Airlines, Tyrolean and Lauda as well. They all joined in March 2000, and Singapore also joined on the 1st of March. So literally about a week later, Singapore Airlines were then part of Star Alliance. This rapid expansion continued when British Midland and Mexicana joined on the 1st of July, bringing the airline's membership to 13. So already in the space of 3 years, you go from 5 members up to 13 straight away. So a lot of people, or a lot of airlines I should say, were looking to if you dangle a carrot in front of somebody and then you try and entice them to take it.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of thing. And it obviously...
They wanted to be part of this big exclusive club, didn't they?
That's it, yeah. It's like they wanted to reap the rewards of being part of an alliance that, this is the first alliance that came out. This is obviously before OneWorld and that. So, it's almost like you want a piece of that pie sort of thing. You want to be part of it. So it's the rapid expansion continued. Because of Singapore's entry into the alliance, Thai Airways actually considered moving to OneWorld, but decided to remain with Star Alliance, where they've been ever since. The addition of BMI made London Heathrow the only European hub with 2 alliances. This is obviously 2000, after OneWorld was formed. And during that year, Emirates considered joining Star Alliance, but decided against it. And anybody that remembers British West Indian Airways, they entered what sort of a merger, or a sort of a code, what they call it, a code sharing partnership with United Airlines as well, and actually considered themselves to be a Star Alliance member, but didn't go through with the option. If we go through some more of the sort of airlines that joined, Asiana joined in March 2003. Spanair, which I don't think are around anymore, joined on the 1st of May 2003. And Lot Polish Airlines was in October 2003 as well. Mexicana did not stay for very long in Star Alliance, because they left after choosing to not renew their code share agreement with United Airlines, and as Steve said earlier, they joined OneWorld because of this. US Airways joined Star Alliance in May 2004, becoming the second US-based airline. And in November of 2004, Adria Airways, Blue One and Croatia Airlines joined the alliance as its first 3 regional airline members. So it's almost going from, in the space of 2005 or so, so about 6 years or so, from going from like 5 members to all of a sudden booming to 13, and reaching out to the regional airlines as well. It's quite a task, because if you imagine OneWorld and SkyTeam were relatively young at this point, so do you think it's almost like a more trust was put into Star Alliance?
Well, yeah, sort of anything that's established is going to have the trust. It's going to have the almost the experience, I suppose, of what you're going to get, what you can offer your passengers, and obviously what they do very well with the amount of, sort of like you said, the big hitters within their organisation. They're absolutely huge. If Emirates had joined when they did, it would have been even more colossal than it already is.
Yes, it's again, the expansion continued through looking to the South American market again with Líneas Aéreas Azteca, who were a Mexican airline, and because the airline filed for bankruptcy, the invite was then null and void. But one of Ian's favourite airlines, TAP Air Portugal, joined the alliance in March 2005.
That was a stroke of luck, weren't it?
Adding African destinations to the network, which also helped with the connections. In April 2006, Swiss Airlines, or Swiss International Airlines, became the alliance's 6th European airline, and South African Airways as well became the 18th member of the alliance. So up to today, they are going very, very strong. We have 26 airlines in there for the likes of Aegean Airlines in Greece. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but whatever. Air Canada, Air China, Air India, Air New Zealand, All Nippon, Asiana, Austrian, Avianca, Brussels Airlines, Copper Airlines, Croatia Airlines, Egypt Air, Ethiopian, Eva Air, Lot Polish Airlines, Lufthansa, Scandinavia, Shenzhen Airlines, Singapore Airlines, South African Airways, Swiss International, Ian's favourite TAP Air Portugal, Thai Airways, Turkish and United Airlines all make up the 26 members of Star Alliance. Couple of obviously names to mention in terms of former members. Obviously Adria went bust and ceased operations, so they obviously left the alliance. Ansett, same with them, they left as well due to financial collapse. Blue One were merged into Scandinavian, so they were no longer an airline of their own. British Midland merged into British Airways. Continental merged with United. So a lot of airlines here merging into different airlines, such as Shanghai Airlines, Spanair, TAM Airlines as well. They left because of the merger with LAN, so obviously becoming LATAM and becoming a OneWorld member. And of course Varig, who ceased operations in 2006. So there's different types of premium levels for the frequent flyer program in Star Alliance. You got Star Alliance Silver, Star Alliance Gold. So members and regional airlines recognise Star Silver and Gold status, with a few exceptions, mostly about airport lounge access. Membership is based on a frequent flyer program of the individual airlines. Many members have a premium status with their individual airline program that goes beyond Gold. However, these levels are all grouped together as Gold status when being recognised by Star Alliance overall. So still, Star Alliance Silver recognises that the customers have shown loyalty to Star Alliance member airlines and earns them 2 privileges that can make their journey smoother. This includes priority reservations waitlist, and priority airport standby. Star Alliance Gold is status that's given to customers who have reached a high level of a member airline's frequent flyer program. Benefits are priority reservations waitlist, airport standby, check-in and baggage handling, an additional checked luggage allowance of 20 kilograms, and access to designated Star Alliance Gold lounges the day and place of departure with the presentation of a Star Alliance boarding pass. So it's kind of almost like a VIP sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's how they all operate, isn't it? It's all about rewards, isn't it? It's like a reward scheme, isn't it? Flying
That's right.
One of these alliances.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like a reward scheme sort of thing. Some airlines also offer preferred seating, so you could choose a special sort of section in the plane. Excuse me, I knew that was coming. Guaranteed seating on fully booked flights as well was also a privilege as well, so that was very handy for a lot of passengers really that were flying with a Star Alliance airline. What else was there? I'm just going through my notes. So there were free upgrades as well in terms of a voucher, certificate, or automatic upgrade at check-in. United restricted US lounge access for their Gold members to long-haul international passengers, and Gold members from other carriers are welcome in US lounges run by United on all itineraries. We'll go with that.
Itineraries.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I don't ask. So yeah. I'm just having a look here to see. So obviously the livery, as we mentioned before, came in a very wacky form with the first 5 or 6 airlines in the founding members having sort of part of the fuselage painted in their livery. This then changed to small squares that aligned the sort of just above the windows of the planes, and it then led on to what we see now, which is Steve's worst livery of the last 20 odd years, which is the Star Alliance logo on the tail with big Star Alliance billboard titles, and then the carrier that the plane flies for underneath. So it's best of both worlds in this one.
I say their passenger numbers are impressive, but you haven't changed my mind on the livery.
I always like the Star Alliance livery. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I like the livery, so we'll call that quits.
Anybody that missed the show last
fair
week,
enough.
Yeah,
You like Siberian and tap, don't you?
Anybody who missed the show last week, we were discussing our worst liveries, and Star Alliance came up on Steve's worst list as number 1, and TAP Air Portugal came up on Ian's list as well. So, considering you got the worst livery and then Ian's not favoured airline, TAP Portugal part of it, it's that's like reminiscing on last week's show. But
yeah.
But yeah, 25 next year for this alliance. I can probably only actually see them getting bigger. And I imagine a few airlines will probably join them before then as well.
Have you? I'll be honest. OneWorld, I couldn't find any. Have either of you found any pending members or any sort of talk of airlines that are going to join your particular alliances?
I haven't, no, funny enough. But the only one I was thinking of were Emirates.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be part of an alliance, do they? But how old are Emirates? I think they're a relatively new airline in grand scheme of things, aren't they?
Emirates are old. They're 1985, I want to say. 1985 they came into...
Right.
It's the last few years that they've exploded as a really
absolutely
big, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But you can see when you put the 3 alliances together that they seem to have... I mean, like you say, if they all would have gone down the same avenues and all tried to go down the same markets, they would have saturated the same places with the same alliances, and I think the alliances would have become smaller in their own right. But where you can see where Steve's, for instance, like they've got Qantas and people like that, and Star Alliance seemed to have gone down I think it was Steve who were before who'd mentioned that they'd not gone into there's no real presence in the South American or African markets, which were Rob Brown plane spotting, where Star Alliance have actually gone down that road, haven't they? And they've sort of they've got the South American and they've got the African market particularly, haven't they? And the Middle Eastern market as well. They seem to have sort of concentrated in sort of those areas, sort of thing.
Yeah. So not so much in terms of pending memberships for Star Alliance and that, but Asiana, one of sort of the older members of the alliance, announced their plans to actually exit the alliance after it was confirmed by the Korean government that Korean Air were actually going to purchase Asiana for $1.6 billion. So whether Asiana stay as their own brand and then go over to OneWorld, which is where Korean Air are currently based in terms of alliances, sort of remains to be seen really, but they will lose Asiana as a member.
Yeah, as Ian rightly said, all 3 alliances they're not stepping on each other's toes, but I suppose as a business model you can't really fly to the same destinations as a competitor, because then you give people the choice, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think that's what people want, don't they? If they don't have that choice, then, like you say, if SkyTeam and OneWorld had never appeared and Star Alliance, I think they would have fizzled themselves out, wouldn't they? It would have washed itself out. And I don't think then Star Alliance would have an alliance either, would they? And I think they need these other players in the market to compete against, don't they? Because it's, you need a competitor, don't you? Otherwise, you're never going to improve, are you? If you've nothing to compete against.
Well, no, that's exactly it. You can, if there's just one exclusive club, you can do what you like, how you like. But if there's two or three, then you've got to remain relatively competitive. You've got to try and offer customer better perks, better conditions.
Absolutely,
Use their alliance.
Yeah, and I think you've also got to offer better destinations as well, because not everybody wants to fly to JFK, do they, to London Heathrow? So you need to go to all these more obscure, I think, places now. Now we're the world's a lot smaller than what it used to be, isn't it? So I think more people want to go to these more obscure places, and particularly around Middle East, which is a relatively sort of a new market. It's up and coming, isn't it? With the rise of like Dubai and things like that. I mean, 40 or 50 years ago, these places wouldn't have been accessible, would they? And I think it's through people like Star Alliance and what have you that these business people particularly use these kind of services, want to fly into these kinds of places now. So suppose they have to expand, and they have to tread on each other's toes a little bit, don't they, just to get into the market, don't they?
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the main sort of thing, is all to do with like code sharing and access to sort of the places where, like you say, you wouldn't have access years ago, through you can connect to a destination through Star Alliance way of doing it. So you fly with one airline, but you can connect with another, and it's not as costly, I don't think, as well, if I'm correct, because it's part of the alliance as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's just that as well. I think booking a flight to, I don't know, some obscure place in the middle of China or something like that, you book your ticket through Star Alliance and they do all the donkey work for you, don't they? So they're going to, rather than you sitting down for hours trolling internet looking for best flights and decent times and this, that and the other, Star Alliance or whatever alliance it is, they will do all that work for you, wouldn't they, as part of the service?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, but I think it's the main thing about all these alliances, sort of as an ending note before we sort of begin to wrap the show up, is literally all about the connections, to make it easier for passengers to be able to sort of get around. And I think that's kind of the important sort of message to get away from here, is like, you're going to be able to connect to places that you never thought about connecting to, but you're going to be able to do it on such a, I suppose, like a better budget, I suppose, because you're traveling with, especially with the premiums and things like that. I'm sure there are more perks with the whole Star Alliance and any sort of alliance that we've looked at this evening. You're going to have a lot more sort of perks and stuff that we probably don't even know about, and that haven't been revealed unless you're part of that sort of scheme, really.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve. Go on.
I was going to say, when you sort of do the Google searches, you get mainly to hear about the lounges and a little bit of the onboard sort of facility and that. But like you say, Tom, there's probably, it goes so much deeper than that. If you regularly fly and you build up your loyalty points with one alliance or another, there's probably so many different benefits that we haven't even discovered doing a search on them.
Yeah, I think it'll be all the small things, won't it? It's like personal service and stuff like that, isn't it? It's when you watch shows like Heathrow and they get the regular travellers coming through and they always sort of usher them off to one side, don't they? And I don't know, give them a gold badge and give them a glass of champagne and sit them down in a comfy seat and things like that. And I think, like you say, through going through the alliances, I think that's the kind of perks that you would probably end up getting, isn't it? And it just make the entire experience just a lot more enjoyable, wouldn't it?
Definitely, absolutely.
Mm.
But yeah, that is our look into. I've just realised I put the wrong graphic up. No, that is our look into the 3 big alliances of the airline world. I hope you all enjoyed that. It was very informative. Gives you an idea for the sort of the background, really, of what they're all about. I will now end the poll that we did in terms of voting for your favourite alliance. And comfortably, OneWorld wins. OneWorld won with 83% of the votes. So thank you to anybody that voted on that as well. I will say Star Alliance got no votes. So everyone seems to enjoy. Everyone seems to enjoy OneWorld and SkyTeam. SkyTeam was 17%, so at least they got some votes. But yeah, poor old Star Alliance didn't get a single vote. But yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start to wrap up the evening show. Can't believe an hour and a half has gone already. But yeah, we're going to do some shout outs. And Steve, we'll start with you if you'd like to give some shout outs to a few people.
I'll obviously start with yourself and Ian. Thank you for a good show again, and it was very interesting and informative. And second of all, I went to Fleet Arm Air Arm today, so I give a shout out to anyone who works in museums, whether voluntary or paid, that sort of keep the history of aviation alive for us to go and visit.
Fantastic.
And that's
a good shout, that.
Yeah, very good shout.
Mm.
Ian, if you'd like to do your shout outs.
Yeah, just thanks to you again, Tom, and thanks to Steve as well for being a brilliant co-host, and thanks to everybody listening, and thanks to everybody who's commented, and that's about it, really. It's been an interesting show, it really has, and I can go away educated tonight.
Definitely.
Yeah, learnt a lot.
I'll do a few shout outs here as well. I'll give a shout out to those that have watched this evening and contributed through whether voting on the poll that we put up or just contributing through comments.
Excuse me.
That's right.
This is a sneezing fit.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Yeah, you pick your times, didn't you?
Sorry.
Must be that talk of Air Portugal and everything else. But no, thank you to everybody that's been watching, and of course, like I said, voted in the polls and commented in the chat as well. Always appreciated. Anybody that's left a like on the stream as well, you guys get a shout out as well for supporting the channel. If you are new around here, of course, please feel free to give the channel a sub. It will help us out. We're trying so badly to get to 900. It seems to be taking a while, but we will get there. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to do so. Also, to frontline workers across the world currently combating with the current situation with the pandemic, for your continued hard work. And yeah, fingers crossed. Things will get easier, sort of as and well, hopefully soon. But it's a constant battle, and we appreciate everything that the key workers do for us. So yeah, big thank you to every one of those. I think that's pretty much it. We'll mention next week we do have a guest with us. Relatively new sort of YouTuber, Jack from Britain Aviation will be with us to have a chat about aviation and sort of the things that he likes and anything about the hobby really. And just be a fun evening of aviation chat. So looking forward to that one. But yeah, for now we're going to leave it there. So we will say our goodbyes, and and we'll start with you, Steve.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll catch you next Sunday. Thank you ever so much.
Wonderful. Ian?
Just thanks to everybody who's been listening tonight and all the questions and things like that. Rob Brown just says it's a nice one, lads. It's a good stream as per. Little smiley face, so happy days. And when you were talking about guests, Tom, I think you could do with a guest on who can teach me how to use an autopilot in an A320 on Flight Sim. If there's anyone listening.
Yeah.
I think that's Steve's shout as well.
Yeah. Out to it. I was on my A320 last night. I hope you're recovering well from my landing.
Yeah, it's not often you find being upside down on a sort of a hill range outside of Cairo, but there you go.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
No. But no, so we'll be back here again next Sunday, 29th of August, 7 o'clock British Summer Time, with the 23rd episode of the podcast. So, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, from us here, look after yourselves, continue to stay safe, and we'll see you next week for another, hopefully, epic show. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.